Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Theruni Karunaratne. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. President assures that people living in line rooms will be given an opportunity to live in villages.
අපි බලන්න ඕනේ මෙහෙම ඉදිරියට යන්න. ඉදිරියට ගිහින් මීට වඩා හොඳ ලංකාවක් ඇති කරන්න. ඒ සඳහා තමයි මම කියන්නේ හැම එක්කෙනාටම මම එක එකම වෙන්නේ.
Sudarshani Fernando Pulle and Dr. Jayampati Vikramaratne to support Sajit Premadasa at the upcoming presidential election. Vimalavira Dissanayake to support Ranil Wickremesinghe. SM Chandrasena says power of the Sri Lanka Pera will be taken over after the presidential election. Former Minister Roshan Ranasinghe enters the presidential race. Field Marshal Sarat Fonseca signs nomination papers for the election. Former Minister Harin Fernando says that it is possible to appoint the next Prime Minister from the Uber province.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka decides.
On to those stories in detail now. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that for the first time in history, those who have been living in line rooms will be given an opportunity to live in a village. Now, he made this statement during a meeting with businessmen in the Nuwara district. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the lease given to plantation companies for the land on which the line rooms are situated will be terminated and the lands will be taken over by the government.
We have now returned to normalcy. We were able to do that because of the money that we received from the IMF as well as aid from foreign countries. If we continue to adhere to these conditions, we will receive money during the next few years as well. If we violate the conditions, we will lose this support. Therefore, this election is being held to decide if these conditions will be adhered to or not. The question here is if we are going to improve the system or are we going back to an era with queues. There is another massive issue surrounding estates. Estate workers are living in line rooms, but they don't have ownership to their land. I will give them title to those lands. The government will take over the rest of the common lands in those areas as well. For the first time in history, the Tamil community in the estates will have a plot of land, a village to call their own. We should look at moving forward like this. We should create a better Sri Lanka. That is why I am calling everyone to unite with me to do this.
Meanwhile, Ranil Wickremesinghe met with professionals in the Nuwara district.
I propose that we should call for a conference in January or February next year to discuss social issues of the Tamil community in the hill country, including social justice and developing the society. I'm going to establish a commission on social justice. The people in the states have nowhere to live. We will identify the areas where the line rooms are situated and the surrounding areas and end the lease that it was given out onto plantation parties. I propose that these lands should be taken back to the government and the title to the lands should be distributed under the Urume program.
The business community of the Nuwara district assured President Ranil Wickremesinghe of their support at the upcoming presidential election.
Let us all get together and support Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 21st of September, who is a leader, not a racist, and who has worked for the estate community and provided solutions to their issues.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajit Premadasa says that he and his team are ready to take over the responsibility of developing the economy of the country. Now, he made this statement at a meeting held in the Galle District today. The meeting was held in the Alpitia town and was chaired by leader of the Samagijana Balawega, opposition leader Sajit Premadasa. Senior leaders of the Samagijana Balawega and parliamentarians were among those who attended the event.
සමහරු හිතාගෙන ඉන්නවා බංකොලොත් රටක් සංවර්ධනය කරන්නට අපේ රටට මූල්‍ය ශක්තියක් නැහැ.
Some people think that our country does not have the financial strength to develop a bankrupt country. Hand over the responsibility to me and my team, and we will bring down the dollars and the rupees by hook or by crook. We will accept that responsibility. We will transform this district into the fastest developing district in all of Asia. We will not take short-term decisions. We will not be in a rush to take decisions. We will not take decisions looking at positions and other benefits. We will never make any opportunistic decisions. We will decide based on what you want and what the country wants. I am being questioned as to why I didn't take up several positions. I could have taken many things. If I had accepted those positions, I would have the words President before my name. But remember that before the title President, the title would be Interim President. I have no hope to become an Interim President. My only hope is to become a President of the general public with the blessings of the general public. I wish you all the very best. I assure you that we will fulfill our responsibilities to you under a government of the SJP.
ගාල්ලු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ඔබ සැමට යුතුයකම් ඉටු කරනවාමයි කියන එක ප්‍රකාශ කරමින් සියලු දෙනාටම ජයෙන් ජය.
Former State Minister Sudarshani Fernandopulle, who represented the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, met opposition leader Sajit Premadasa today and pledged her support to ensure his victory at the upcoming presidential election. Dr. Sudarshani Fernandopulle contested the 2020 general election under the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and was elected to Parliament from the Galle District. She has held several deputy ministerial portfolios and was also the State Minister of Primary Health Services, Pandemics and COVID Prevention under the previous government.
When we look at those contesting the presidential election this time, I believe that Sajit Premadasa has a good team in the Samagijana Balawega that is capable of taking leadership and doing what is right for the country. Our country needs good leadership, a good strategy and a good team to carry out that plan. My conscience tells me that I can work together with Sajit Premadasa and his team. I first thought of retiring from politics, but then my conscience told me not to do that. During this presidential election, we also have a responsibility to make the people understand who would be a good leader for the country. Although we developed as a country, our economy is now undergoing immense pressure. To save our country from this pressure and for the people of this country to lead a happy and peaceful life, I believe that Sajit Premadasa and his team are capable of creating a suitable environment for that. Sajit Premadasa will definitely win this election. There is no doubt about that.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා දිනනවා ඒකේ කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ.
The United Left Front has decided to support opposition leader Sajit Premadasa at the upcoming presidential election. This decision was reached at the Central Committee meeting held today. The party's General Secretary T.A.D. Sirimal said that 36 votes were cast in favour of the decision, while 16 votes were cast against. Former Parliamentarian President's Counsel Dr. Jayampathy Wickremaratne is currently serving as the leader of the United Left Front. He is well known for his significant contributions as a member of the committee responsible for drafting the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the National Democratic Front, President's Counsel Vijayadasa Rajapaksa says that he is the one who is directing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and that true SLFPers are with him. Now, he made these statements at a media briefing convened today.
I'm not a person who falters. I have a personality. I'm not a person who can be manipulated by anyone. Some people have joined the SJB while others have joined Ranil. Others are still wondering which side to join. Then there is also another group who are directly working with me. I did not take over this party by force. The executive committee of the party had unanimously decided on 2 occasions and gave me the responsibility of this party. But using state powers, our headquarters have been taken over and they are holding on to the SLFP. The Siri's team and Thilanga's team said that I am leading the party towards Ranil Wickremesinghe. Nimal Siripala's team said that I am leaning towards the SJB. All the thieves and thugs have already aligned themselves. The people who are honest and do not have allegations of corruption and fraud against them and truthful SLFPers are with me. No one can touch that 5 million. You don't have to know the law. Every person with a brain would know that I am the person who is directing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The 142 members of the Executive Council unanimously raised their hands and approved my chairmanship. This is something that should be decided by a court of law.
Former Minister of Sports Roshan Ranasinghe says that he will be contesting the upcoming presidential election. He made this announcement at an event held at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute. Former Chief Justice Sarat and Silva, Dr. Vasantha Bandara and Senior Attorney at Law Kalyananda Thiranagama were among the attendees of the event. The theme of the event was Hadavatim Maratata, which loosely translates to wholeheartedly for the country.
මම දෙකෝටි 20 ලක්ෂයක හදගස්ම වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී හිටියේ. දෙකෝටි 20 ලක්ෂයේ අවශ්‍යතාවය මට තේරුණා හැමදාම.
I stood up for the hopes of 22 million people of this country. I always understood what the 22 million people needed. That is why I intervened and said that the farmers of this country should be provided with the water they need. When the then executive was not using the water of the Samanala River and was not supplying the water to the Valava, which ultimately led to the drying up of paddy field, what is worse is that there were people in the cabinet who were only saying yes when such decisions were made. I'm not contesting to accept the presidency. I'm coming to abolish the executive presidency. However, if the parliament is not ready, I request the people's mandate to support the plan to abolish this executive presidency in the parliament. I believe I must stand with the people to save the country from those who plague this country with corruption. Therefore, I'm ready to take this responsibility and contest the 2024 presidential election. Our country should be our first, second and third priority.
මටත් ඔබටත් පළමුවත් දෙවනුවත් තෙවනුවත් විය යුත්තේ අපේ රට. එනිසා හදවතින්ම රට කියන එක මම මෙතනදී සිහිපත් කරමින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ජයෙන් ජය වේවා, මාතෘභූමියට ජය වේවා, තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
Field Marshal Sarat Fonseca signed the nomination papers for the presidential candidacy this afternoon at his office in Aturugiriya. Bonds were deposited for Sarat Fonseca on the 5th of August. Meanwhile, attorney Nuan Bopage, the presidential candidate of the People's Struggle Movement, expressed the following views in Beliatha today.
අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්තියත් එක්ක තමයි අපි අපේ මැතිවරණ ව්‍යාපාරය ආරම්භ.
We started our election campaign with our policy statement. That is why there is nothing to compare here. No one can present a program like this. At this moment, we don't have many platforms for the presidential election in this society. There are not many teams. There are only two teams. The program of the People's Struggle Alliance is on one side. All other programs are against it. Those programs are to be carried out under the IMF, which runs the neoliberal economic policies, where we will be subdued by India, and that is the policy Ranil wants us to take.
කරපින්නම් යන අර වැල් පාලමේ ඉතුරු ටික රනිල්ට ඕන විදිහට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් ඉන්න ව්‍යාපාර.
The turning point.
Parliamentarian S.M. Chandrasena says that after the presidential election, the group supporting the current president will work towards securing power in the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
After the presidential election, we are the owners of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. There are about 100 parliamentarians who support President Ranil Wickremesinghe. It is wrong for a minority to keep the power of this party. After the presidential election, we will get the ownership of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, and we are forming an alliance as a separate group. That group is trying to get the rights of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. This could be similar to the cases ongoing in court for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Even if we can't do that, this is not the United National Party. We are clearly under the leadership of the Prime Minister. Under his leadership, we will present candidates for the general and the local government elections. There is no problem in that. Yes, we will be getting the power of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Otherwise, the SLPP will be a namesake party, and we will get the power of the party. Dinesh Gunawardena is the leader of our alliance. We have the right of our party.
The turning point.
Will the faction supporting President Ranil Wickremesinghe gain control over the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna? State Minister Indika Dissanayake responded to this situation at a media briefing convened by the SLPP today.
These are wolves in sheepskin. This is a fake group that say they are still a part of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. A murderer from that side, a bomber from this side, and another who was involved in stabbings have all got together on one stage and are fighting on that stage. Some are fighting demanding for the front seat. They are fighting demanding for prominence. They are fighting demanding for the position of organizer. Was this not what happened in 2015 as well?
2015 දී අපිට මේකම නොවේද උනේ. අපි එදා කිව්වේ මේකට ආඩි හැන්දෙනාගේ කැඳ හැලිය කියලා.
පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ මුල් කාලේ ඉඳලා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ හිටපු අය දැන් වෙනත් තැනක ගිහිල්ලා වුන් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නේ මේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයෙන් පස්සේ මීළඟට වුන් වෙනම බලවේගයක් නිර්මාණය කරනවා කියලා. එතකොට පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ?
ඉතාම ශක්තිමත් වෙනවා.
We will become very strong. We wish them all the best and say that there is no need to create any issues. Please form this force. It is good for the people that a separate force is created. When there are many forces, there is more competition. I plead from you to go form that force without bothering us.
කරුණාකරලා ගිහින් මේ බලවේගය හදාගන්න අපිට පවුනොදී.
SM චන්ද්‍රසේන මන්ත්‍රීතුමා කියනවා ජනාධිපතිවරණයෙන් පස්සේ පොහොට්ටුවේ සම්පූර්ණ බලය අල්ලනවා කියලා.
මේකේ බලය අල්ලන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ
It won't be as easy as they think to capture power here. If they are saying that they will seize power, let's see how they do it. We too will be waiting here. I responsibly state today that a lot of people making similar statements will come back and join the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
මම අද වගකීමෙන් කියනවා ඔය ගොඩක් කියන අය ඇවිල්ලා නැවත ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ තමයි නවතින්නේ.
The turning point.
Under which party is the group supporting Ranil Wickremesinghe from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna planning on contesting for the general elections? These are the views expressed by Minister Prasanna Ranatunga in this regard.
We are still members of SLPP. None of us have left the party, nor has anyone been ousted from the party. Therefore, we do not have any problem with the party. We will do what should be done in the future as well. The parliamentary election will come only after the presidential election. We should not reveal now what we are going to do in the future.
The turning point.
Minister of Power and Energy VI Searo says that there is no doubt that President Ranil Wickremesinghe will win the upcoming presidential election in the country. He made this statement at an event organized to declare open the Electoral Coordinating Centre of the United National Party in Mathura.
No matter what our opinion is, and despite us being politically divided, we representing the SLPP, the United National Party and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party all decide that we have no time to experiment in our country. This is not an opportunity to engage in politics based on promises. If any leader has proved that he can take the country forward and face the challenges and strengthen our future, that leader is none other than Ranil Wickremesinghe. When the election is held on the 21st and the first result is released on the night of the 21st, and when the final result is announced on the 22nd, have no doubt that Ranil Wickremesinghe will still be the president of this country.
සමස්ත ප්‍රතිඵලය කියනකටත් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා මේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා බවට පත් වෙන එක කිසිම සැකයක් තියාගන්න එපා.
The turning point.
Members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna of the Galle District, electoral organizers of the United National Party and a group from the Ceylon Workers Congress held a discussion at Yatiyantota.
A number of parties that have been working against us joined hands with us today in our district. We launched our campaign to work towards the victory of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. So we are confident that we can make Ranil Wickremesinghe win this district with a majority of votes.
Sri Lanka
Podujana Peramuna neither listens to their party supporters nor the people of this country. When a majority of parliamentarians are saying that we must support Ranil Wickremesinghe and Pavitra and SM Chandrasena leave the party to join us, I think the SLPP should listen to their supporters. If they listen, I believe that we can move forward in this journey.
We made this decision even though we have a candidate from our party because the country comes before the party. We all have a country to do politics. People ask us only one question: should we make Ranil Wickremesinghe the president again? People in villages naturally hold that opinion. We should listen to them and give that opportunity to the people. These are the views expressed by the Samagi Jana Balavegaya on the crisis within the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna bankrupted the country. Now to get rid of it, these people have formed independent groups and have joined with the president. They are forming different groups. So the mandate is clear. They don't want to be labelled as the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. They say that they are becoming independent and forming new parties. But the same group is divided, but those who voted for us are still the same.
The turning point.
At a time when debates are ongoing regarding a change in the leadership of the SLPP. Will the next Prime Minister come from the Uva province? Former Minister Harin Fernando spoke about this at the Win Together meeting organised in the Badulla district.
Today, let us approve a proposal in Badulla for all of us to support Ranil Wickremesinghe. Everyone raise your hands and let's consider this motion as approved. I know that there is something missing in me. Some call me former minister. Some say that I have nothing now. But politics is not based on positions. It's about challenging the challenges. You might not be used to the character of Ranil Wickremesinghe, but Nimal Siripala de Silva also knows, and my body says that if you want to appoint a Prime Minister from the Uva province, if we win all 9 electorates here, I will take up the responsibility of making him the Prime Minister.
The Turning Point.
A meeting of the Ampara District former Provincial Council members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was chaired by former Minister Wimalavira Dissanayake. Former Minister Wimalavira Dissanayake said that they should support Ranil Wickremesinghe for the upcoming presidential election.
From the bottom of my heart, I am personally happy if Ranil Wickremesinghe wins. In general too, the economy has been built according to his tone. Be it right or wrong, the country is moving forward during these troubled times based on the economic and political principles of Ranil Wickremesinghe. This train is running on that track. If the track is changed, the train will topple. If Sajit or Anura changes the track, the result will be the same. I would like to see Ranil Wickremesinghe win, since the Bohotua cannot win. From the bottom of my heart, I would like it if the Bohotua wins, but neither I nor you can resurrect the SLPP at this time. Even those who went along when they were called to work for the SLPP will slowly fall off.
Who will be appointed to the SJB National List seat that was left vacant by Harin Fernando? Now, Mano Shanara, who also lost his parliamentary seat, commented on this matter at a public meeting held in Kandy.
We continue to fulfill our responsibilities as members of the UNP within the SJB. And when it came to a point where a decision needed to be taken, we did it without thinking about what would happen to our seats in Parliament, ministerial portfolios, or even our lives. Hirunika Premachandra failed to get into Parliament. Now she is being offered Harin Fernando's national seat that is vacant. Hirunika Premachandra is now the most powerful woman in the SJB. All the women in the SJB demand that she be appointed to the national list seat, but he doesn't appoint her to that seat. Why is that? What is the issue? Sajit Premadasa, instead of giving the national list seat to her, since Hirunika will leave the SJB if she is not given this seat, he is saying that Bandula Bandarigoda will have to be appointed to replace Manusha, as it should be done according to the constitution. But instead of appointing Hirunika for the seat left vacant by Harin, he is keeping it for until after the election, because he needs Hirunika until then, and he can also balance a few more people by promising all of them the vacant seat in Parliament after the election.
Will Hirunika Premachandra be appointed to the national list seat left vacant by Harin Fernando? Journalists questioned Hirunika Premachandra regarding this matter following a meeting held in Aturugeriya today.
I have not requested for any position from the party's leader or the secretary. The only position I requested was the position of Kaduwala electoral organizer from Sajit Premadasa when the Samagi Jana Balawege was formed. It's a responsibility. After Harin Fernando's parliamentary seat became vacant, I saw on social media that my name was also proposed for it. But the party has not yet informed me about it, nor have I asked. If it is given to me, I will gladly accept it. In another 1 month, there is a presidential election. After that comes our election. If posts are to be received, we will get them. When we will contest for it, the people will choose. These are the views expressed by Ranjit Mad, the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawege, regarding the national list seat left vacant by Harin Fernando.
දැන් මේ වෙන විට ජාතික ලයිස්තු මන්ත්‍රීතුරයක් ඉස්සලා තියෙනවා. කාටද මේක දෙන්නේ?
ඔබ හිතන අපි ඒ සම්බන්ධව තනි තීන්දුවක් ගන්න බෑ. කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලය සහ අපේ කළමනාකරණ මණ්ඩලය සාකච්ඡා කළා සුදුසු අය පත් කරනවා.
හරින් ප්‍රනාන්දු මහත්තයාට මොකද වුනේ?
හරින් ප්‍රනාන්දු මහත්මයා ගැන මම කනගාටු වෙනවා. එතුමා ගත්ත වැරදි තීන්දුවේ ප්‍රතිඵල එතුමා භුක්ති විඳිනවා. මම හිතන්නේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයාත් එක්ක එතුමා එක්කව වෙච්ච එක කවදා හරි හිතයි මම ගත්ත වැරදි තීන්දුවක්. අපි හොඳ මිත්‍රයෙක් කනගාටු වෙනවා.
ආපසු ආවොත් ගන්නවද පක්ෂීට?
ඒව ගැන කල්පනා කරලා බලන්න ඕන.
Dr. C.Y.G. Ram has been appointed as an Assistant Secretary of the Samagi Janabalabegia. Now he received his appointment letter from party leader Sajit Premadasa. Dr. C.Y.G. Ram is the organizer of the Samagi Janabalabegia for Colombo North, and he is also a former provincial councillor.
The power of the people.
Charting the course of your success in a disruptive world. Global transformation thought leader Karen Leong on the 13th of August at the Oak Room Cinnamon Grand, 6 p.m. onwards. Contact 077 466 4931.
Divisha SC space number 9 and send it to 7788.
Quarter final live rounds August 11th at 8:30 p.m. Tune in to Shakti TV.
රටට බත සපයන රජරට තමුත්තේකම කුඩා බෙල්ලන් කඩවල ග්‍රාමී ජනතාව පිරිසිදු පානීය ජලය නොමැතිව බොහෝසී දුක් විඳි කාලය නිමා කරමින් ගම්මැද්දෙන් පානීය ජල පෙරණයක් ලබා දුන් වගයි. ගම්මැද්ද රට නගන ජන පෞර.
Grama Niladari officers have decided to launch an island-wide strike action starting from tomorrow. The strike action is being launched against the recently gazetted service constitution for Grama Niladari officers.
The Service Constitution for Grama Niladari officers was approved by the Public Services Commission on the 6th of July 2024. This Service Constitution was published in the Gazette on the 2nd of August. The Grama Niladari officers point out that the new Service Constitution published in the Gazette does not include their proposals.
The government has given us a service constitution on the 2nd of the 8th month. We have several issues regarding this service constitution. At a time when the attention of the general public as well as politicians have turned away to something else, we wonder what the intentions of the ministry officials were when they published this gazette. Therefore, we decided as an alliance to step down from performing our duties on the 12th and the 13th of this month. Steps have been taken to hoist black flags in front of all our offices. We will not act in a manner that affects the election process in any way. We will never hinder the opportunity given to the people to exercise their sovereignty. Our main demand is to bring this GN salary scale to a similar level as the MN5 salary scale. That is one demand. The other demand is to increase the qualifications required for recruitment to a degree.
Meanwhile, a fire broke out early this morning on a Singaporean ship which was anchored in the port of Colombo. Ports Authority Chairman Keith D. Bernard says that the fire was quickly extinguished with the help of the Fire Service Department.
The MSC Cape Town 3 cargo ship had docked at the port of Colombo after arriving from Singapore last afternoon. The fire broke out while it was anchored at the JCT-4 jetty. The chairman of the Port Authority said that one container which was suspected to be containing potassium chemicals was removed at the same time. The MSC Cape Town 3 ship belonging to a shipping company of Geneva, Switzerland was due to unload 995 containers and load 880 containers, according to the Port Authority. The cause of the fire has not yet been revealed.
Fisherfolk in the Pamban and Mandapam areas in the state of Tamil Nadu have launched a protest Now, the protests have been launched against the arrest of 35 Indian fisherfolk in the seas of Mano, which is within the Sea of Sri Lanka, on the 8th of July.
The protests are being carried out to pressure the Indian central government and state government into freeing the fisherfolk and their boats that have been seized. Meanwhile, Indian media reported that Sri Lankan pirates had attacked a group of Tamil Nadu fisherfolk who were engaging in fishing activities near Vedaranyam in India. The Indian media reports state that pirates who arrived on 4 boats had attacked the Indian fisherfolk of the Arukadu department last evening when they were engaging in fishing activities. 4 fisherfolk who were injured in the attack are reported to be receiving treatment at a state hospital. And Indian media added that the Coast Guard department has launched an investigation into the matter. Newsfirst reached out to Navy spokesperson Captain Ranil Wickremesinghe for a comment. He said that Sri Lanka does not have pirates in its seas and that no such incident occurred in the Sea of Sri Lanka. He added that this is merely a story fabricated by Indian fisherfolk.
The people's protest in Thimbirigasaya continues as the people express their dissatisfaction with the government and the current state of affairs in the country.
People of Colombo are back on the streets, demanding accountability, transparency and good governance. As the heat of the election period intensifies, these protesters are voicing their demands that they expect from the country's next leader.
We have elections coming up next month, and this is, I believe, Sri Lanka's last chance to turn itself around. We need to vote the right people, we need to vote for honest people, and personally I feel a vote for the current incumbent is a vote for the existing corrupt Pohottua. Whatever games they are playing and pretending to be on different sides, they will get together again. So I urge you to look at the person, the individual, their values, has there corruption charges against them, are there cases against them, and then decide and vote for the correct person.
A government and a leader with a proper mandate, not who was selected by 134, but voted in by all Sri Lankans. I think we have 17 million registered voters. That's why we are impatient, and we instruct and we remind our rulers to have this election, which is due. The date has been published as 21st September. We hope that our rulers will not find excuses to postpone this.
We are in a very crucial point in our country. At this time, you, the people, must make a very conscious decision thinking about the country, not like some people say this is for the country. Really for the future of the people and the children of this country, we need a change now from this administration. Therefore, please really understand the situation that we are in and use your vote very wisely, and please go and cast your vote and do it correctly.
Just days after former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina abruptly resigned and fled the country, a caretaker government has been sworn in Bangladesh. Now, the United States has welcomed this new leadership, but there is growing pressure from some lawmakers in Washington to impose sanctions on officials from the previous regime.
Some lawmakers in the US Congress have urged sanctions on Bangladeshi officials under Sheikh Hasina, who recently quit as Prime Minister and fled, while the US government has formally welcomed the appointment of a new caretaker government there. US Senator Van Hollen, a Democratic member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said, quote-unquote, the Bangladeshi leaders who orchestrated this brutal crackdown must be held accountable, which is why we are calling upon the administration to sanction General Secretary Quadri and Home Affairs Minister Khan as we continue working to support a peaceful and democratic Bangladesh. A letter by Holland and 5 other congressional Democrats was sent to the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, urging sanctions on those officials. The State Department said it did not preview sanction-related actions. Meanwhile, Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has alleged that the United States engineered her ouster from power and the country after she refused to cede sovereignty of St. Martin Island, which would have given Washington control over the Bay of Bengal. In a statement shared through her close associates and reported by Indian media, Hasina explained her decision to resign from her position as Prime Minister, emphasizing that it was done to prevent further violence in Bangladesh.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has acknowledged for the first time that his military is conducting a cross-border offensive inside Russia's western Kursk region.
In his video address late on Saturday, Zelensky said Ukraine's military was pushing the war onto the aggressor's territory. He went on to thank Ukraine's warriors and said he had discussed the ongoing operation in Russia with the country's top military commander. Ukrainian officials said the capital Kiev and several other regions came under a Russian drone and missile attack in the early hours of Sunday. Ukraine's Air Force has recently said that they shot down 53 of 57 attack drones. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has said in a statement, quote-unquote, the Kiev regime is continuing its terrorist activity with the sole purpose of intimidating the peaceful population of Russia. She adds that Ukraine understands perfectly well that the recent attacks make no sense from a military point of view. The Russian spokeswoman mentioned several attacks in the past 24 hours, including what she said was a massive overnight strike on the regional capital, Kursk.
Head coach of Sri Lanka cricket team Sanat Jayasuriya says that this will be his final tournament as interim coach. He made this statement when he arrived at Sri Lanka cricket to travel for the test series with England. Members of the Sri Lankan contingent playing in the Test series with England departed the island today. The Sri Lanka-England Test series consists of 3 matches. Veteran players such as Dinesh Chandimal, Dimuth Karunaratne and Angelo Matthews are included in the Sri Lanka squad. The first match is scheduled to begin on the 21st of August in Manchester, England. This will be the final series coached by Sanat Jayasuriya in his role as interim coach.
This will be the final tournament where I will function as the interim coach. These players experience a temporary fallback. I requested for people to come and support them. Our fans came to support them and I thank them for that. Again, I request our fans to support our players at this series as well.
Sri Lanka's biggest kite festival, Sirasa TV's Signal Kite Festival 2024, successfully concluded today at the Galle Samanala ground with the participation of a large number of people.
The Galle Samanala ground transformed into a vibrant canvas of colour and excitement this morning as thousands flocked to witness the Sirasa TV Signal Kite Festival 2024. People from across the country also participated in the Sirasa TV Signal Kite Festival 2024 today. The Sirasa TV Signal Kite Festival, the largest kite festival in the country, promised a spectacular display of creativity and skill. Along with the Sirasa TV Signal Kite Festival, many artists performed from this afternoon.
Well, that brings to a close tonight's edition of Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Karunaratne. Thank you for watching. Good night.